Hello, good morning, good
Good morning.
afternoon, good day, depending on whatever time zone you're in. It's Melissa, if you're not on your, I'm hoping you're not on your cell phone for this because every time you start talking, it flips you the first time. So we're gonna hope we
No,
don't have technical
not on the phone
difficulties.
again.
Haha, it worked today. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Banner and Backbone, the Anti-Fascist Book Club. Today is episode 5. I believe it is. It just said it on the
Yeah.
screen. And it's Do Not Obey Tyranny. We're beginning our discussion on Timothy Snyder's On Tyranny, 20 Lessons from the 20th Century. And today we're welcoming some special guests with us again, and new guests for the first time. So I'm Nick Perro. We have my good friend Melissa Corrigan, returning guests, Stephanie Wilson, and brand new guest today, Tara Devlin.
Hello.
And
Thank you.
welcome. It is so good to meet you officially on live and have you here.
Yes, thank you.
Let's start with you, Tara, real quick to introduce yourself to everyone. Ellie Leonard is going to be joining us here in a second, too. It does say live on Substack that she's with us, which means she is coming with us here in a second. I just got a ping from her saying she can join whenever. So, Tara,
Awesome.
can you introduce yourself for everyone? And then Stephanie, afterwards, reintroduce yourself for
All
everyone.
right. Well,
Absolutely.
thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm Tara Devlin. I have a show, Tara Buster, on the Political Voices Network and on my own YouTube channel, youtube.com/channel/Tara Buster. And I've been speaking truth to power and screaming about fascism for a very long time, feeling in a lot of ways that I've been screaming into the wind because I remember years ago saying that in every Republican chest beats the heart of fascism, and people going, "Oh, Pisha, that's you're just being hyperbolic," and here we are. So I anyway follow my Substack and all that, and hopefully we can get through this really because not to go on to a long rant, but this
We're all
independent
about long
media,
rants.
yeah, what you're doing is so important, Nick, because this is how we're gonna be successful. This is how we will overcome this. Because don't you're not your eyes are not deceiving you. This we are in a fascist takeover. It's happening, and if you read On Tyranny, it's right there listed. So we're here to help get this back. This is how Poland was successful in overcoming their coup or pulling back from their authoritarian takeover through the independent media that was still capable of speaking truth to the regime. So it's important what we're doing here. And thank you. That's it. That's all I can say right now. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for thank you for that wonderful introduction for yourself,
Yeah.
and thank you for
I
the
love it.
compliments for us. But also for welcome. Yeah, fascism's fucking here.
It
Let's fight
is.
back, which is a great opportunity to introduce and our other special guest, which is Stephanie Wilson,
Hi, folks.
who has her podcast Freedom Over Fascism. And I think this read's going to be a great one for all of us. But Stephanie, do you mind reintroducing yourself for everyone?
My pleasure. So I'm Stephanie Wilson. I have the Substack slash podcast Freedom Over Fascism. I'm a historian by training and a messaging specialist by long career. And so I am interested in making sure that people understand what's going on now, what in history precedes it, and what we're going to need to do to rebuild with what I call radical creativity after this is done. So I think Tim Snyder, he's never written anything that I've disagreed with. I think he's spot on every time. And I'm really glad to be here with you guys. And fascism is here, and we need to find a way to talk about it that doesn't that people can hear.
100%. Yes. And so this is just this is an open show. So once what we're going to do here in a second is I'm going to switch us over to our next screen, which is actually where we're going to introduce the book itself. And we're going to be able to go through it, pick out some incredible quotes and pieces. Stephanie is going to be showing us through the book. Let us know if the font is not big enough as we go. We'll adjust as needed so everybody can see. But one of the things I wanted to call out real quick.
Oh no.
Oh no.
What was
hear
it that
you.
you wanted to call out?
You lose Nick? Oh
You went
no.
mute.
It must have been super important.
Well, hi guys.
Oh, is he
Or
frozen?
shout out here.
Oh, there you are. There you
I
are.
lost.
Oh,
I lost
Here we
connection.
go.
Sorry,
I
everybody.
know.
Ellie,
We were sad.
Ellie,
Hi.
your shirt looks freaking awesome.
You like that?
I
wore it to
do.
work
Do you
today.
like
I love
mine?
it.
Yes, I do.
Oh, awesome.
Wear it with pride.
Yeah,
All
we
right,
do.
Somebody zoom in or read it to us because it's
Okay, it says
It is-
Anti-Fascist Book Club.
Nice.
all
I
right.
love it.
And then
Gotta get
I
one.
need
underneath,
one.
then underneath is
wait.
the Veterans Fighting Fascism. Depending on which
Alright.
one you got, mine
Right.
has.
No, mine's just a logo. I just heard you like like the person who made the shirt.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love it.
Mine's the vet version that so Chris Goldsmith, who's the creator of the
one.
book club itself,
Where
working
can I
with us for this.
You can get one. We'll get you
where
one.
can I get one of these shirts now? Okay, that's all. That's all that matters right now.
Don't worry, don't worry. You'll get one, Tara. We'll talk after the show. I can definitely.
Thank you.
Definitely talk to you about that. And Chris may actually be joining us partway through if he's out of the meeting that he's in. He joins us fairly often for the shows or whenever he can, which is awesome. It's cool to have the creator of the book club in the book club itself.
Wonderful.
So for us,
And
this is
I was just going to say really quick so that I'm not rude. I'm going to pop off at 12:58. So if I disappear, I have to go back to work, and I apologize.
And I cannot shut off your channel on Substack. So everyone who's here for Ellie specifically, please keep with us.
Guys.
We love you.
Mhm.
Don't leave us. But yeah, this is our book club. It's an open discussion we have. We did the first 4 episodes on the Task Force Butlers, What is Fascism? And you're catching us right on the beginning of our next discussion. So let's kind of get into it. I'm going to move over. And today, everyone, before we move over, always as we do, is Melissa. Can you introduce what the book club is and is not for anyone who is new and first time joiner with us?
Yes, I learned pretty early on because I've started a couple of these locally to my area and had to clear up for a lot of people that anti-fascist is in no way associated with any nonsensical entity called Antifa.
Right.
So we are not Antifa. So if you thought you were here for the Antifa book club, sorry to disappoint, but what we are is a group of interested and concerned veterans and citizens who are reading the words of history and historians and philosophers and people who can point the way for what happened throughout history and how we can take lessons from that and move forward into the future.
Yes. Wonderful.
All right, let's get us over into our book then. Thank you, Melissa. I appreciate that. And boom, there we all are. Looks amazing. And Stephanie, so I'm going to give you a little bit of control here. Do you want to lead at least through the prologue section right now? And
sure.
And we'll start with like your thoughts on some of it from a historian's point of view. And then Tara, I'd love your response and anybody else afterwards.
So here Snyder talks a lot about, how we can learn from history, that it doesn't repeat, but it gives us clues about how to deal with the future or the present situation based on how other people dealt with it in the past, and how there's often a game plan that dictators, and I'm choosing to use the word dictator as opposed to authoritarian because I think people respond better to it, what they have used in the past to gain power. So he talks about several different times where there were a couple of democratic moments, but those didn't last very long. And then we had more dictatorial moments, which is actually most of human history. And we talked about, I mean, he talks about, once you get to see all of my my annotations, it shows us that the whole idea, and we'll get to this at the end, that we have been in this passive state of thinking that history is kind of over, that there is no more change that's coming, and that has in some ways caught those of us who care or on our side, pro-democracy, off guard because we didn't necessarily think it would be able to happen here. So basically, he talks a lot about what the that fascism and communism, which are in general both different forms of dictatorships in the way that they have been used, responded to a more global economy, and that the founders of our country anticipated this, and they were right on the spot, right on, because they lived in a world which was ruled almost entirely by dictators, whether kings or whatever you want to call it. So, thoughts?
Well, I guess I can jump in if.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, sure. No, I mean,
tell me if
go ahead.
You want
sorry.
me to move to a different page too?
I just, no, it's okay. Just like overall in general, what I think about this is that for years we've been hearing from the mainstream media, and I do believe that we're in this predicament because of the mainstream media, and everything that we're seeing is the what I think is the fact that we are in silos of information, and that the half of the country is absorbing or whatever you would call it, this right wing version of reality. And we've been hearing from the so-called liberal media, which doesn't exist, but like on mainstream or CNN, MSNBC, that the institutions will hold. And this is what Timothy Snyder is talking about. It will not hold. There has to be an agreement. And because the United States was founded as the antidote to the intergenerational aristocracy and monarchy that ruled Western civilization for 2,000 years.
Not only Western.
Right. Ruled civilization in general. And they did it with the same, under the same means that the Republicans are trying to reestablish in America. And that is, they whittle away at the pillars of democracy, including the education, including the separation between church and state. That's why they want to take that away. So people will just await their rewards in heaven like they did, for 2,000 years. Don't pester your betters while, they have all the earthly rewards to themselves. And that's what we're seeing. And then just dividing people. And this is, we really have our work cut out for us. And, but democracy and the institutions, like, it doesn't come by osmosis. It has to come with an agreement. We all have to agree to this system. And what we're seeing unfold is that there is no agreement left, that they don't abide by the rules and the laws. And the challenge is that the opposition party simply isn't standing up to it, because I think everyone is on their back foot all the time and in a delusion, like Timothy Snyder talks about, that it's inevitable, that democracy is just going to last. Everything will be a linear timeline. We're just going to get better and more progressive, and democracy will expand. But as we see, history is not linear, and we've definitely backslid. So that's what I think. And I don't know. It gets a little daunting and sometimes disheartening, but we have to hold on to the fact that even us having this conversation is something that we wouldn't be able to do if we were completely a lost cause. So let's put it that way.
Ellie, your thoughts? I know you're limited on time.
Well, I'm just about to jump up, but I was going to say I heard a stat somewhere recently that 70% of the world is still under a dictatorship at this moment. So the idea of like a superpower falling to dictatorship would probably take another big chunk of that percentage.
Yep.
So that's kind of scary to think that it's that close. And again, I don't know if you brought this up before, and I'll drop it and then I have to go, and I apologize. But that idea of the Qatari Air Force Base being put in Idaho, and what that means for the entirety of everything. I don't know. That blew my mind this morning.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we're going to definitely talk about that. Melissa and I may have a specific vet talk on that too, because I'm concerned, to say the least.
Maybe you should write a strongly
worded letter. I'm gonna write a strongly worded letter to Chuck Schumer.
All right, we're gonna hop off, guys.
Thanks, Ellie.
Bye.
You should have let Ellie go first. I'm sorry.
I should have.
I'm sorry. I feel like I
dropped the ball on that. That
it's
was
all
bad
good.
hosting.
Sorry,
no, Ellie.
You're not bad. I'm bad. Okay, I'm bad.
I'm new at all of the things. I'm learning. And it's to answer some of the questions, at least in. Oh my God, my dogs are barking in the background. So somebody decided to turn on a lawnmower, and that's my dog's nemesis.
It's okay.
But yeah, the we won't go too far into this. I think right now is the Qatari thing in USO, because I think there's going to be a lot of pushback from allowing that to actually go forward, and it's going to get stopped. But the plan is to put up like a permanent installation or piece of an installation for Qatari military to train on F-15s in U.S. soil, which would mean that we would be flying U.S. F-15 planes over U.S. soil with foreign pilots
Unbelievable.
who we are not vetting in any way, I bet, other than
of course not.
That they are Qatari military, and somehow that makes them acceptable right up front, because we don't do any national security anymore.
Nope.
Along with the idea that the U.S. military can now train as though we're at war over U.S. cities and U.S. soil. Who knows if that pilot is a Qatari pilot or an American pilot flying over U.S. city? And if that's a Qatari pilot, are they going to just shoot on Americans?
Yeah.
Well, if it's an American pilot, are they going to just shoot?
Yeah, that too. But
Americans.
I doubt Americans will for a very long time. I think that's going to be a really hard sell for a lot of these pilots and folks to be able to hey, shoot on Americans. They're going to be like, yeah, no thanks. I'm not going to do that.
Well, that's why they're purging. But they're purging the military. That's why they want all of these MAGA types to join the military. They're getting rid of those, who actually believe in the Constitution. So,
yes,
it's shocking.
Well, I actually don't think it's terribly shocking, because I think that's probably the carrot they used to get Qatar to put pressure on Hamas to accept the ceasefire deal.
Yes.
And since they're the key money laundering center of the universe, it kind of fits with Donald Trump's desire for good money laundering and corruption.
Yeah.
which, you know, totally leaves out national security, but so does Trump.
This is what he is. He is the greatest threat to this country. Like when he wanted Putin to have some kind of cyber, they were going to join up for cybersecurity in America, and people just laughed out loud. But this is what we're dealing with. He's like the enemy. You know, when everything is a projection or a confession, he's the enemy of the people. Okay, it's the truth. They all are. It's shocking. I'm shocked. I still am shocked sometimes when I saw that about the Qatari. I just can't believe the bottom just keeps falling out. I shouldn't be shocked. I guess I'm also infuriated. So, yeah, I don't know. Hope gets in there sometimes, but not much. it's very difficult. We're living in very difficult
I'm
times.
just numb most of the time. Are we not all just numb?
Yeah, right. That's part of it. That's part of what they want to induce. This is even in Project 2025. If you read
Right.
Project 2025, which was their blueprint, they were going to implement this in 90 days. Everything is going to be a blitzkrieg, and that's I use that word deliberatively because that's what they were doing. They knew what they were doing. They had to do it fast, so because democracy is designed to be slow to respond to and that is not a bad thing. That's a feature. We're not supposed to have immediate wars and whatnot. The fact that Mike Johnson has given Trump the power of basically a king. There is no Article 1 branch anymore. He's completely abdicated that role, and it's being normalized, and people actually think this is normal on the right wing, and they're like, I'm cool with the autocracy, I'm cool with the dictator, as long as they I guess hate the same people you do. I mean, all right, I'm sorry, I don't mean to monopolize, but it's a lot. It's a lot.
It's like it's the whole not slip up. I think it was a slip up, actually. It was the plenary authority
Oh yes.
Oh, yeah.
power from Stephen Miller, which I think is a huge deal and needs to be spoken about a lot, because that means absolute power and control. That means, just like Terry, you just said, was Article 1 has been abdicated for Article 2 for what used to be called the unitary executive, which is just now a dictator.
That's right. Yep.
It's always been a dictator.
Yes.
Just calling them an executive doesn't make it any less
exactly like Putin calls himself president, so does Xi. They're not presidents, these are dictators, and the fact that we call them president too says everything, that we are enabling the gaslighting of and that's what will happen in the future if our country falls to authoritarianism completely, and that's the end of it. He'll be a president. He won't be a king, because it has a more palatable ring to it. It gives and it's just like in ancient Rome. You know, I love history and I study history, and it's the same thing. If we travel back in time to Rome around the beginning of the the first emperor Augustus, and you asked people, do you live in a republic or an autocracy? They would say we live in a republic, and they had local elections and everything like that. And that's, and when Pompeii was decimated by Vesuvius, there was an election going on. We know this because we see the graffiti on the walls. And that's what will happen here, except the king will have ultimate authority, and you'll be free within the constraints of what they have set out for you. And it's just disgusting, the whole thing. People need to wake up. I know we know, and thank God that we could still talk about it. So,
and because Banner and Backbone is an independent media network, I'm going to call out CNN for trying to then edit the video.
Amen.
And
disgusting.
Removing it and redoing it so that he didn't say plenary powers or plenary powers.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, that's what Trump.
Can you imagine having
ABC
breaking news live on your network and erasing it?
No, like I wouldn't do that. Transparency is king or key or whatever or queen or whoever you want to call it. Transparency is what makes democracy and republics actually thrive.
even just from a journalistic standpoint, you got the biggest scoop of the day.
Yeah.
What do you
Right.
mean?
Yeah. Why are you hiding it?
To then
Expose it.
delete it.
Yeah. It's your job to be like, oh, this
Exactly. Well, that just
wrong.
says it all right there. Who's on our side? We're here because of the corporate media continuously normalizing this. And if that's not a prime example, I mean, that they just manipulated the news. It's going to go down in history as a real moment. If we get to the other side, they're going to study this period, and that's going to make one of the prime examples of how our media failed us.
Yeah.
Really.
So should we move into our first chapter then, which is
Yeah.
do not obey.
Yes, I have
Yes.
notes.
Um,
I have notes.
good.
All right. So first chapter, do not obey in advance. You see all of my highlights. But this is the anticipatory obedience that has been shown even here even with all of these warnings. This is what people are doing. They're obeying in advance.
Melissa, jump in.
Right. I just jotted down. Oh man, I just jotted down right off the top of my head without opening anything to just immediately the first chapter of this book just sort of gets my read up, because not just the journalist, which our media did immediately, within 10 months, the censorship of corporate media is absolutely breathtaking. And that's proven by that clip a couple days ago where CNN has the biggest breaking news, maybe of the month. You've got this mouthpiece for the regime saying out loud something so atrocious and so against democracy, and you delete it. So not only corporate media completely rolling over in less than 10 months, you have schools across America beginning to implement anti-trans rules throughout school districts. You've got state governments either fortifying defenses or proposing the most radical bills that, you know, these far right bills that they've been holding in the wings. Now you've got states like South Carolina and Alabama and Arkansas and Florida going crazy, pushing the most crazy far right legislation that we've ever seen. Oh,
we'll get Stephanie back. She'll be able to join back in a second, I think. I'm not sure what happened.
So we have state governments, then we have corporations rolling over and only self-correcting when the public strikes out with boycotts. You've got colleges signing over extraordinary powers to the government and allowing them to arrest and expel foreign students and dictate policy on campus protesting. And you have all the way down to local cities, towns, and municipalities that are moving ahead with unconstitutional surveillance, like I've been covering with the Flock case. So it's not just the media and journalism that has capitulated. You've got it trickle down all the way to our local little towns. My city has a population of 220,000 people. That's it. We're not a big city. And now the federal government is injecting itself into this Flock camera civil suit. Why do you think the federal government is interjecting in a mass surveillance suit? You know, so from top to bottom, I will agree that I am extremely concerned with how rapidly Americans and American institutions have completely capitulated.
It's shameful. They should be ashamed. And I hope that we're taking note and that we don't forget when we get to the other side who did capitulate. Because Timothy Snyder talks about this in the book too, about what if no one plays the game, he says. That's how you start with the regime, because the regime doesn't know what it can get away with. And it does these things to test the resolve of the people and the institutions. And then it's like, okay, I guess there will be no pushback, and it keeps on pushing. And you see, this is how disgusting they are, because these are people that have the money and the power to say F you to the regime.
Right.
But not we're here, on our podcasts standing up we're not making millions of dollars, and we're the ones that are, doing this in spite. And there goes CNN.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yes.
and
Disgusting.
ABC is bought out and CBS is bought out. The problem isn't even some, well, they did obey in advance because they got purchased by right-wing
Mm-hmm.
owners and corporations that were part of a coordinated effort behind the scenes, because Project 2025 has been going on forever now. They just used to call it Dominionism and the Seven Mountain Mandates. Now they just call it Project 2025 because they all got together and were like, yep, we're going to finally make it happen because we're finally there.
Right.
They bought everything. Like the fact that Nexstar and Sinclair broadcast groups are about to own almost 80% of both the content distribution and networks themselves, is scary. That used to be separated for a reason, because you can't own both the distribution platform and the distributor. Like
Yes.
that's
Right.
a monopoly, or as they like to say on their side, a monopsony, because you own both. So a monopsony is a Shyam Sankar axiom that he uses. He is one of the CEOs or CTOs at Palantir who got embedded in the U.S. Army Reserve. Actually, not embedded, commissioned as a
lieutenant general.
lieutenant general.
Oh, that's right. I remember this. What a shock.
Lieutenant colonel.
Why do I keep saying shock? I don't know.
Yeah.
Got to get that word out of my mouth.
Was it lieutenant colonel?
Yeah, lieutenant colonel, and he in the Army Reserves in Detachment 201, which is the Executive Innovation Task Force, and which was a program that Biden had piloted, and instead of canceling, they just kept going through with it and let Trump pick who he wanted to be put in there.
Wow.
And he's part of Palantir, owned by Peter Thiel, and that wing of the party who believe in TESCREAL and some really fucked up shit about like killing off 2/3 of the country because only 100 million of us should live here, and there's 340 million of us, and that won't
I have to interject here. If you have not taken the time to read the new, I know it's long, I started reading the defense authorization bill that we just passed, that so unbelievably shocked. I cannot believe that our senators read this before voting on it. I started taking notes of every single article within it that was problematic, and I started on an envelope because I didn't think it would be that much. And in this, we are developing new branches of the Army, one of which is going to be called Civil Affairs, and another one for I can't recall. I'm going to come back with the name of, but we are also beginning a pilot program within the military for generative AI and spatial computing.
Oh, God.
While we have embedded the tech CEOs.
Skynet. We're building Skynet and Terminator because they want to do drone. If you've ever played I like playing video games. If you've ever played the Horizon Zero Dawn series, basically this is the premise to that game: is the entirety of global civilization was wiped out because we made drone tech and drone swarm tech, and we put it into this powerful generative AI system called Gaia that in the end, to try and like keep the world alive after everybody died, and repopulate humanity, except one of the pieces of the software decided to take over Hades, and spread a virus throughout and kept killing everybody using drone tech. And it's an awesome video game series, probably one of the coolest. It's a female led character, and it's like a third person sort of like combat game. It's so much fun. The
I love that
cutscene when you start the game, like my favorite part of the entire game is when you see her like running and she jumps across a log and she's a kid, and then she lands and she's an adult, and it's so cool to see the trend. Like it's
That's
right
cool.
at the beginning in the cutscene. Great show, but it kind of preludes what they want, or like Terminator style
Oh
stuff.
yeah,
For those who
definitely.
know more,
It's
like
well, that's that whole Curtis Yarvin
oh yeah,
bullshit. This is the other thing that the corporate media has failed us. You know, remember how much we had to hear about Obama palling around with terrorists because he sat on a board with Bill Ayers, and Bill Ayers hosted a fundraiser for him once, and then we had to hear that shit for years and years about him palling around with terrorists. But we didn't hear anything about JD Vance palling around with Peter Thiel, who funded JD Vance's entire career, and also Curtis Yarvin, who both of them say that democracy is the worst thing that happened to the world, and they want this technocratic autocracy to take over, and like everything you're talking about, this new enlightenment they call it, and
Mhm.
it's just disgusting. And that's what I'm talking about. You know, the corporate media has given us the the silos of information, but it's not telling us the actual story that's going on, and we're in big trouble because of it. So it really
Yeah,
is true.
or Minority Report,
Hmm.
Lefty Prof. Your great point on that is like they want to do predictive policing. It's not predictive.
Right.
It's not even predictive policing. It's they want to do predictive profiling. Is more accurate what they want to do,
Hmm.
and the police agencies obeyed in advance a long time ago because
Right.
this is what they were set up for. Like they were set up to abuse the system and overlook laws and only pick and choose which laws they want to enforce or pick people up for. And it's fairly the history of policing in the U.S. is based around keeping Black people enslaved
Hmm.
um, and keeping minorities
Sure.
enslaved and poor people enslaved, and so they
And
and women,
women.
yeah,
Yep. Yep.
And
yeah,
women.
and
That's
so
it.
it's been a
Did you hear after I've been like warning people about these flock cameras and the capabilities, a woman in Texas, a resident, left Texas to get an abortion, came back to the state, was arrested, and they had used 83,000 flock cameras to track this woman's movements from her home
Oh.
to the abortion clinic in the other state and back so that they could charge her. And now Flock tried to deny that they were using their network for that, but a leaker actually pulled the record. And every time you want to perform a search in Flock, you have to provide a reason. It's a mandatory field. And the reason literally said, had an abortion, comma, searching for
Holy
female.
moly.
yeah, and the fact that
Like we said, this
Right.
is exactly what they're going to use this technology for. And
That's
everyone
right.
said we were crazy conspiracy theorists. And now that's exactly what they're using the technology for.
yeah,
It's
and
terrifying.
we'll say it very broadly, disclaimer for everybody, none of us are suicidal, none of us are advocating for any
Right.
violence or anything
Not
in
at
any
all.
way towards any of these companies. We are just advocating for legal clarity and transparency, and we want to hold people accountable for when they do things that are illegal and breaking the law, such as collecting data on people and using it to target people in ways that violate their constitutional amendments and their
Right.
constitutional rights to free movement and
Right.
free interstate travel without being surveilled by the police department, and the police being able to use that without any request or access or knowledge from that person in any way that their data is or availably being used. But then again, and yes, we advocate for nonviolent
Yeah, absolutely.
responses in any way, only legal responses. We are advocating for things at times like citizen-led um, citizen-led petitions for civil suits, for holding people actually accountable on a civil side, because we can still do that.
Yeah.
Like such as Jesse Waters or Brian Kilmeade
Hmm.
advocating for violence on Fox News. Those things should not be allowed, or being labeled as terrorists because we're on the left.
Hmm.
But that's all been allowed on TV and normalized and things like that because media obeyed in advance
That's right.
and is continuing to obey in advance, and we're losing credibility and respect from groups like even like NPR, because they just platformed Caroline Leavitt again,
God.
and didn't even push back on
Yep.
her. Like NPR, one of the most just neutrally kind of progressive networks
Yep.
available, because fact leans progressive. Facts
That's
lean
it.
progressive rather than conservative on like 90% of the issues. They're just over here just going, yep, okay, whatever. Here you go, Caroline Leavitt. Have this
Because they're
space.
afraid. Well,
Hockey.
and that's why that is actually what Timothy Snyder talks about in his book, about how in Germany people would just put placards up in their businesses and whatnot just to be left alone. Leave me
Mhm.
alone. You know, I want to just do my business. See, I'm a good one. Don't bother me. Don't look at me. And that in itself is exclusive, and it makes it separates us and them, and it feeds into the power of the regime, and then people get more terrified and stop speaking out. People, that's why I always say from the beginning of this, all these institutions had to do was stick together and say F you to this baboon. No offense to
Yeah.
baboons, but they didn't. You know, these are
Yeah.
people with billions of dollars. They could have done it.
Yeah, like chapter 2 in the book covers is defend institutions, and that covers exactly what we're talking about. But institutions don't defend themselves. Like they can't just do it on their own. The people at the institutions have to have an ethical code and a moral system that upholds and be like, hey, no, we don't want to do this.
Right.
Like that's bad, because the desk jockeys are the ones who enable fascism to happen. Like that's how Germany had fascism so spread out and so quickly enabled, was because the lawyers led it, and the business folks and people and professional communities. I
That's
don't know
right.
what I just did. The professional communities were just like, yeah, we'll let our ethics bend and break until we just do it ourselves. Like
Yep.
most of the leaders in Hitler's movements for ethnically cleansing the
Yep.
Jews were lawyers,
Right.
because they said we could do it, and shady business people who were like, oh yeah, we'll make a bunch of money on it.
They
Like
liked it.
the prison industrial complex that
That's
we have
it.
in the US
Cheap
is
labor. Right. No
Mhm.
unions.
Right.
Cheap labor, slave labor.
Right to
Great.
work.
Wonderful. Exactly.
Like I lost my job in July due
And in
due to
the
right to work, and
Oh,
like that's one of those things I think nobody talks about enough.
that's right.
Is
Right to work.
that was the labor unions bending to fascism a long time ago, saying, yeah, we'll give up on the fight for collective bargaining.
Right. Right. Exactly. Which is democracy in the workforce. That's
Yeah.
all it is. It's getting a seat at the table. And if you're not at the
Mhm.
table, you're on the menu, as they say. And that's the truth. They have no respect for working people in this country. And that's why they divide us you know, across racial lines primarily, and everything. And of course, trans people are just like say the target, which is exactly what happened in Nazi Germany too. They attacked
Mhm.
trans people. And what's really irritating about the right is that for all the conspiracies they see under every rock, they don't see the oldest conspiracy playing out right in front of their faces, which is divide and conquer and make the rich richer. That's what's happening. It's
Yeah.
really about keeping us in our place and having us with
Yeah.
no ability to
And
do anything about it.
in the book says he instructs us, Timothy Snyder instructs us to choose an institution you care about, a court, newspaper, law, labor union, and take its side. And for a minute, like when I read that, I was like, well, what institution am I going to pick? Because they're all like crumbling. And that's why I think I've chosen to focus on the law and the courts and look at cases that
Yes.
definitely affect me immediately in my city. And I'm going to follow that case with a magnifying glass, and I'm going to put every piece of documentation that we find publicly on the internet so that the public can see not only what's actually going on with the use of these cameras in my little city, but also the underlying implications of what are these statements saying when they come out from flock safety? What are these statements saying when they come out from the federal government? What are they actually telling us? Because what this case in particular is telling me is that we don't have the right to privacy and a right to a warrantless surveillance existence
Oh,
in
oh yeah.
America. So I've chosen to get behind the institution of the courts because to me, it kind of looks like that's the only true institution that's really fighting back is the courts and holding their
Right.
ground in many cases.
And that's exactly how, when I was mentioning Poland, if we look into that, for I kind of see that as our beacon of hope, because they were able to push back against their authoritarian takeover, and it was because of they had independent media that could speak truth to the regime, and the courts. So that, and we have that to a degree, but we also have this corrupt and illegitimate Supreme Court, which is really concerning. And I don't know. I don't see the Democrats really having any. We're all frustrated with the Democrats because of their messaging is so poor, and that's the truth. They should have been messaging from the beginning that all of them are corrupt and illegitimate, like the corrupt and illegitimate Amy Coney Barrett, who couldn't even wait for Ruth Bader Ginsburg's body to be in the ground when Mitch McConnell called her and said, "Hey, you want to come join me in my coup against the court?" She's like, "Sure." And everybody is, and like from Gorsuch on, they're all illegitimate. Kavanaugh screaming, pounding the table, revenge of the Clintons. I mean, where do we live? These people are unfit, and they're all corrupt and illegitimate. And in order to do something about the court, we have to message that too. We have to call them corrupt and illegitimate and make the people understand really what's going on here. Doing something about the court would be, it's a patriotic imperative. It's not destroying the court. They've already destroyed it. We have to get it back. So, and that's true. I mean,
Yeah.
look at what Kavanaugh did. Just giving Trump immunity. What?
Which I want to make sure I like to remind people is
Yes.
that can be overturned. Like Supreme
Mhm.
Court, it just made up out of whole cloth presidential immunity. There's nothing in the Constitution that
That's
says that
right.
exists, and it should not exist in any way because they should be held accountable. Because when you're done being president, you are a citizen again, and that's how the
right.
Constitution works. That's how our society works. Because citizen is the highest rank of office, of civil office in this country, is voter and citizen, not president. President
That's
is the
right.
servant of the people. We need to start reminding people that all the time. Is
Amen.
public servants are public servants, and you serve us, not private interest, but public interest.
Mhm.
There was something I wanted to mention in the comments. Oh, yeah, it was so it doesn't get lost just in the comments too, is most people don't like to, or a lot of people on the right do not like to be reminded that Dobbs was not about abortion. It was
Right.
about body and data privacy. And the right to your privacy as data is constituted, especially from a health side. And if you, and as a male who knows this from experience, is if your wife has to ever be asked a question such as, does your husband have a vasectomy? They get to look into your medical records now and check. They did it with mine.
Wow.
And I didn't get asked
Oh
by
my
anyone
God.
if they could do that. They just went in and checked. My wife did ask, like, is my husband supposed to sign off? They're like, and as from what I remember was like, no, you didn't have to, because they looked into it and I didn't know about it
Oh
until
my
I got
God.
told way after. And so that's what data privacy means, folks. Like, people don't, the men, if you have if you don't think this impacts you, it does. Like, they know what your medical records are by extension because they have your wife's, and they can access anything that is attached to
Right.
your wife or your daughter or your son or anybody. And like, I had my medical records hacked. This year I got a notice saying that my medical records were hacked in a very Doge sounding
Oh
hack.
God.
Um,
That's probably what it was.
and I'm part of the VA system,
Right.
so it wouldn't surprise me, because Doug Collins is a piece of shit who capitulated
That's right.
just by existing. So, like, yeah, privacy doesn't mean anything in the U.S. They obeyed a
No,
long time ago when they got rid of Dobbs. But
that's
yeah,
right. Right.
um,
Right.
and I know Terry, you've got a
Yeah, I gotta pop off at around 10 minutes. If
yeah. So I want to wrap up our discussion for today,
oh, okay.
so that we can give you time, Tara, to let everybody know where they can find you,
Oh,
things
thank
like
you.
that,
That's
support your
nice.
network.
Yes, please.
Because one of the things that I found, like Melissa said, or you brought up, is focus in on one thing that we really want to do and can help an institution.
Mm-hmm.
I'm helping the media institution. That's what I found
Yes.
that I really like doing. Is I like connecting people, and hosting shows like this and interacting with the crowd,
Yes.
and our guests and our audience. And so the media institution used to be our fourth wall, like was
You're
the
right.
fourth pillar in the American democracy that held truth to power and real truth. And I want to get back to that. And I've been talking with a lot of people to help build up communities and platforms like this and increase banner and backbone,
Yes.
and how others can get involved in places like that. So, one, I want you to know there's an open invite for you to come back
Thank you. Hey,
to the book club. Please do
thank
join
you.
us if
Thank
you
you.
can
I
next week. We'd
will.
love
Are
to
you
have you.
kidding me? Yeah, I will. I believe in everything that you're doing. I think it's so important. And
Thank you.
yeah, and that's why I do what I do. My lane, I think, is also the media. I have a degree in communications, and this is what I've studied. This is what I do. And I do believe that until they come knocking on the door and taking me away, I guess I'll keep doing it. And I think that people, I hate e-begging, but we all need the support. That's for sure. We don't have billionaire benefactors, so come in. We can only do this with everyone's help. And the way I look at it is we're in this together. I end my show all the time saying we stick together, we win. And that is the truth. We have to, like the founders, they pledged their lives, fortunes, and sacred honor to each other. There's nothing more woke than that. There's nothing more e pluribus unum, right? That was our
Mhm.
original motto. Out of many, one. We got to get back to that. That we care about each other. We should care that people don't have health care. That's the other thing with this thing that's going on with the shutdown. I just saw that Trump is firing people now. It
Mhm.
came up on my phone. You know, that's disgusting, and we shouldn't tolerate that anyone being treated like this. It's just absolutely an abomination. So, all right, I know I do have to go, but thank you for letting me on this incredible, important discussion, and I hope to join you again with more of that, because we really are. We have our work cut out for us, and thank you for letting me be a part of this, and thank you guys for all your support. So thank you.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for joining us today too.
All
So
right,
It
I
was
want to
so
make
great
sure.
meeting you.
great meeting you too, and I'll have you guys on Tara Buster. So,
Yes.
and
Oh,
this is
Excellent.
Tara
love.
Junior, my emotional support cat,
Oh,
one of them at least. So. We all need
we
that's
all
what
have
that's something I'm afraid of. When they come through the door, I'm like, my cats, my guinea
Yeah.
pig,
my
who's gonna
dogs, my snake.
yes,
Someone's
right,
got to take care of them.
right.
Mhm.
Can we do
And
something about that, please? Right? Before
yeah,
you take
and
me away. No.
like, please let me call a snake friend or
Right.
Yeah.
a cat host or a
Exactly.
dog watcher
Exactly.
for a while at least. And so I put up also is
Thank you.
your Political Voices Network that
Yes.
you are
I
affiliated with
yes.
too.
Thank you. Yes, we are growing the Political Voices Network, and I write articles on my Substack through the Political Voices Network. And on Fridays, my show is streamed on Political Voices Network, and there'll be more shows to come. So I'm doing some more shows on there, and yeah, it's just a lot. I got a lot to think about and do. It's a lot,
There's
but
always a lot.
yeah,
Yeah.
but my sister always says we'll sleep when we're dead. That's the
Yeah.
truth. And this is what we have cut out for us now. Our work is cut out for us. And I practice Buddhism, and then in Buddhism we say, okay, you picked this lifetime, you picked your life. we'll see. I don't know if I, when I'm in my next life, hopefully a little bit more relaxing. But yeah, I guess I picked fighting fascism. I didn't expect it, but we do have, this is our patriotic duty. We all served in the military, everyone in this discussion here on our, and I joined after September 11th because I wanted to help my country. And I still want to help my country, and I've always cared about other people. I find it abhorrent that Republicans like Marjorie Taylor Greene suddenly cares about healthcare because their kids have a bill.
Yeah.
Well, where were you before? So many people have needlessly died or gone bankrupt because they can't afford healthcare. And we're in this together. That's why FDR was brilliant by making Social Security belong to everyone. And that's the only way we should roll. Everyone in, nobody out is the only American value. And that's patriotic. So thank you for listening. Thank you for letting me, join in the discussion. And I will see you soon.
See you soon.
All
Thank
right.
you,
I'll talk
Tara,
to you
so
soon, and I'll
much.
have everybody on the show. And Stephanie, I see you in the chat. So yes.
Love it. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Tara. I
I'll talk to you
appreciate
guys
it.
later. Thank you.
Awesome. And before you go, Melissa, I want to also pop yours up here, and then I'm going to get our other two hosts on there as well, and get theirs up there. I wish Stephanie's didn't have a technical issue today. So Melissa, can you give yourself a little boost and tell everyone where they can find you too?
Sure. I just dropped my link in the chat for $4 a month subscription forever. I would really appreciate paid subscriptions. We are working around the clock. Like I said, I was up till 10 o'clock last night reading the NDAA, the Defense Authorization Act, that is the budget, and what the Pete is looking to change in our military over the coming year. And I am shocked, and that's going to provide yet another project that I need to dive into so I can bring that information to you. So every one of those paid subscriptions helps buy me coffee, pay my light bill, and also help contribute directly to the work, like downloading thousands of court documents.
Yep. And those are all things that we're going to need and have to have. So please, everyone, subscribe where you can with Melissa and spread her work. And then we have our two co-hosts that dropped early. Also, we have Stephanie Wilson with Freedom Over Fascism. She is an amazing friend of the show. She does stuff with me on Mondays with a chronic illness discussion. She has her own podcast, like I said, Freedom Over Fascism. She put her link in the chat also for her website. So go subscribe to her wherever she's available on all her podcasting platforms. That really helps is if you subscribe on multi-platform. And if you need to if you get multi-emails and stuff, always be willing to mute emails for any of us if you need to and you get too much, but never, hopefully don't unsubscribe. The website is the Substack. Awesome. So yeah, join Stephanie at Freedom Over Fascism. She's fantastic. She's doing a lot of great work. She's had some really great interviews and is continuing to have really good interviews, and love to see what she's doing out there. Next is everyone's favorite and our favorite investigative muckraker is Ellie Leonard. And so she's the panicked unpaid writer. She doesn't look as panicked anymore, and she's less unpaid than she used to be. So again, support Ellie, become a subscriber, paid subscriber for her, for Stephanie, for Melissa, for Tara, and for all of the networks. And then finally, and support Ellie as she continues to grow on more of her investigative work into the Epstein cases. There's a lot of great stuff she's working on and things coming out. And she's at the heart of making sure that the truth comes out and accountability happens. So definitely help her subscribe there. And then second to last, myself, Sick of This Shit Publications. That's my private, or that's my personal publication. I'm working on building a poetry novel of things that I write: political, social commentary, chronic issues. I talk about chronic health issues a lot. I am running a 50% off flash sale until the end of the day today. So come and join me on Sick of This Shit Publications for 50% off until the end of the day. That's for your first year on annual or paid subscriptions, and any support helps. I'm trying to make this a full-time gig, and it really does need the support to help keep growing. But free subscribers are really appreciated too, though that's a huge component of it all. And then finally, please support Banner and Backbone itself. Become a paid sub, free sub, whatever you want to with Banner and Backbone. Help us grow. We are an independent media network that is actively growing and actively working to support various issues, such as what Melissa is working on for her investigative reporting into the courts and the surveillance state, as well as we're working with Centered America now to set up a mutual aid fund to support Americans who are going to be hit really hard by the furloughs, by disobeying in illegal orders, and possibly being jailed if they're in the military on active service. And this is to help their families and them, as well as furloughed federal workers and possibly fired federal workers who need our support. Because if they're going to do the right thing and they're going to stand up to fascism, they need to know we have their backs. So look out for updates around Banner Aid and different things that are going to be coming out there as we build out our side of the mutual aid fund in conjunction with Centered America. So again, thank you everyone for joining today. Thank you, Melissa, so much. Any closing thoughts before we go?
Nope, just reminding everyone, this is the book. I love that we've now gotten the resource thriftbooks.org if you want to buy a thrifted copy. So keep those dollars out of Bezos' pockets.
Yes, and we will, as always, put links to bookstore.org and thrift books on there so that everyone can go to one of those two sites. They help local libraries or just through thrifted books, and it's one, less expensive, but it also too actually helps and puts back into the community. That's what this is all about, is rebuilding community and rebuilding togetherness. So thank you everyone for coming, for all the support today. Really appreciate it. We look forward to having all of our amazing guests back next week. And we will be continuing our discussion next week of Timothy Snyder's On Tyranny. This has been Banner and Backbone. I'm Nick Perro with Melissa Corrigan for our Anti-Fascist Book Club. Thank you, everyone. Have a great Friday.